Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's comes at us from Charu Paru. Hi, Bryan. My request is Une Very Stylish Fille by DIMITRI from Paris from the 1996 Sacre Bleu album. Now, there's a lot of French in there, which is a language that I consistently pronounce poorly. So I apologize for any of that. Let's dive into this. We got a 1996 track. Let's find out what DIMITRI from Paris is bringing to the table today.
I am a very stylish girl.
Now this sounds a little bit...
How do I look?
Very good.
How do
Wait,
I look?
I've heard this.
How do I look? How do I look?
Very good. I must say I'm amazed.
I am a very stylish girl.
The chord progression and cross-stick drum
Stylish girl.
pattern. It's reminding me of Girl from
Very
Ipanema.
stylish girl. A very stylish girl. How do I look?
I like the bell over here.
I am a very stylish girl. How do I look? How do I look?
Okay, bringing that in.
How do I look?
Very good. I must say I'm amazed.
I am a very stylish girl. 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 I am a very stylish girl. How do I look? How do I look? How do I look?
Very good. I must say I'm amazed.
I am a very stylish girl. 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 I am a very stylish girl.
All right, interesting track here. I've heard this before. I don't know where. But I'm also curious about everything on display. All right, so here's the thing. There's like 5 layers to this song, and that's it. We have the piano and drum off on the left. They're giving us that backbeat rhythm, a little bit of syncopation. We're getting the chords from the piano. This is the part that reminds me of Girl from Ipanema, which is a jazz standard. I don't know if it is Girl from Ipanema, though. but it feels very similar to that. Then we also have the stinger. Bump, 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 ba-dump, bump, ba-da-ba-bum. That part constantly, over and over throughout this song. It's used to divide up moments. It's to raise some intensity before we come back down to a norm. It's even done back to back against itself to create a sort of a staggered cadence. It doesn't really bleed into anything nicely. It doesn't go into itself very well at all. Moments like that just shake things up. And then we have the really metallic, it might even be the bell of a cymbal, but also it could just be bells too. It's just little ting, 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 ting. This little high-pitched rhythmic cadence over here. And then the vocals, ooh, just this ooh sound. Those are the 5 parts. We get them in a bunch of different ways. The piano and drum, they're consistent. We don't really remove them ever, but the vocal oohs, the bell tinging, they come and go. Sometimes we have those layers, sometimes we only have one of those layers, sometimes we only have the other, sometimes we have none. And then the stinger, bump, 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 ba-dum, that's used mostly sparingly throughout the song, just to give it some sort of structure, because otherwise it would be a drone piece of piano and drum. Now there are 2 vocal lines. I'm a very stylish girl. And the one where, what was it, is a male vocal. And he says something about being impressed or something like that. That's it. That is the entire song. To be honest, I don't think it's strong enough to go for 3 minutes. But it does find some nuanced variety across the runtime. We get different layerings of the vocals. Sometimes there's a little bit of extra reverb on them. When we get the stinger idea, that changes up. It's not consistent. It's not at the end of every 8 bars. It kind of changes its sound up. The ornamental ideas, the bells and the oohs, I didn't really find a pattern to when they exist. So there is some linearity to this. It isn't just an 8-bar loop that is done for 3 minutes long. I can appreciate the fact that it is, at least from a first-time listen, a linear work. But I don't find that any of these layers are transformative enough to the work to really change the moment-to-moment appreciation of what's happening. The song doesn't really get expanded by any of these layers. It just becomes a little more densely laid out, a little more colorful, but it doesn't alter what it's doing. And so we do end up with a 3-minute song that is generally the same from start to finish. And here's where all of this kind of lands for me because of the perfection of everything, how identical the stinger is every time it's played, how identical the I'm a very stylish girl line is every single time it's said. This is a sample track, isn't it? And this brings me back to the piano and drums. Are these sampled from another song? Is this, in fact, a part of Girl from Ipanema? And if so, what's the stinger? Where does that come from? Where do these vocal lines come from? I'm going to assume a film, possibly, television show, maybe a radio show. It does really only need to be audio, after all. And so what we basically have here, if I'm understanding this correctly, is somebody took 5 samples together. Well, I guess when you bring in the vocals, 7 samples, and just adds them in different combinations across a 3-minute runtime. If that's true, I do think the resulting experience is interesting enough to be able to take such disparate ideas and make something, I don't know if I'd use the word captivating, but entertaining enough for 3 minutes. My interest was waning around the 2.5 minute mark, but honestly, to keep my interest that long on a song that's basically a one-note idea, you're doing something right, especially my attention. So I think if I come at it from a sample perspective rather than an acoustically played song, I have a different appreciation for it. But I think at the end of the day, there just isn't a lot here for me to dive into analytically. I'm not really enjoying this casually either. It's an interesting artistic piece, if the whole sample thing is accurate. And since there's not vocals per se, there's just those two lines, which I guess I do need to go figure out what the male vocal line is. There's not a lot of lyrics to dive into either. So I'm going to take this moment to pause the video and look at what this song is, so I know where my appreciation should lie. Because if I just end the video on if this was samples, this would be all right, and then not actually go and explore if it's actually samples or not, feels like I'm not doing my due diligence here. So let me look into some of this. All right. So I went and listened to Girl from Ipanema. It's close, but it's not the same. I also wonder if maybe the piano and, it's a guitar and drums, if they're not original composition. Now, granted, it's just a pretty straightforward rhythm. And honestly, the rhythm that's the part I think that really resonates with me as far as Girl from Ipanema. And then we just have a chord progression on top of a 2-chord progression at that. Maybe that's original. Everything else is sampled. Now the bum, 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 ba-dum, that part is sampled from The Girl from Uncle, written by Teddy Randazzo. The vocal lines are quotes from Breakfast at Tiffany's, the film. So it is mostly sampled. The oohs and the bells, I can't find what those come from, so they might also be original parts to the song. So I find this a little less interesting, as there is, at least from my assumption here, more original composition to this track than I assumed, but it still ends up being something that, like I'd mentioned, keeps my attention despite the focus of it. It really only does one thing, and yet for 3 minutes it still worked for most of that. Now, I'm also seeing that it was used in a Volvo commercial in the US. Maybe that's where I heard it from. I don't know. I have heard this song before though, and I have never actively sought it out. I've never heard of the title. In fact, if you asked me what the song was called, I probably would say A Very Stylish Girl, not Une Very Stylish Fille. I would never guess that I should be separating, including some words as French and some as English, since the lyrics don't go in that direction at all. And DIMITRI from Paris is an artist who I've never heard the name of, though after listening to this, it's quite possible that maybe I've heard more of their work too. This is an interesting reaction for me. It's one of those things where I ended up having more questions than anything else about it. But these are just my thoughts on DIMITRI from Paris's Une Very Stylish Fille. Let me know what you thought of this. Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Have you heard this before but didn't know what it was called? Are you in that same position as me, where you were expecting to hear something new, clicking on this video, and you found this to be oddly familiar? Do you have a different perspective or opinion about this track? Please put all of that and anything else you'd like to add into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you can find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.